Hi, thank you very much. Definitely, that's always a concern for most clients. But of course, when we talk about these issues we're talking about, I always like to look at it from different perspectives. There are basically three levels: the national, the state, and sometimes we match the state with the community or the councils. Then we talk about the individual level, which is the household, okay, or the property level. So if we're talking about convincing as well, we need to be conscious of the fact that the interventions are not only expected to be at the household level. There are interventions that should be at the federal level, which of course the popular one remains the existence or the building of strong institutional framework. That's where it starts from. So if we can buy into the national level, we can get our way through to the national level, it might be easier to penetrate other levels. By the time the national talks about, consequences of you not adopting retrofitting at your property or in your compound, you have no choice. Even if 100 do not comply, at least you have 20 or 10 that will comply. So the point I'm trying to make is when we talk about these issues, I try not to focus just on the individual or the household. Let's be conscious of the holistic, context of this whole thing: national, state, council, and the individual level. Now, speaking directly to the question, how do we convince whoever, irrespective of the level, to buy into the idea? There are basically, different approaches, but there are two popular ones which I know are not always accepted, but they work. Every system lobbies the government. Every system lobbies those who have the voice. Okay. Probably we need to learn. It's a word that, we're talking somewhere recently, and the person used the word lobby. And the person was conscious. Yes, you might not want to hear that word, but that is what we do. Okay. There are professional lobbyists. Okay. And, if you need to get something to the right tables, you engage them. So if I can make my point clear, okay, it's about understanding who owns what we need. Who do we need to speak to? That is advocacy. And that means we need to talk to the right persons. The next one, before key things change in a number of societies, if you look at it very well, you will hear some noise in the media. They are not just noises, they are strategic noises. Okay. If changes are to be made to immigration, expect some things to be out there in the media. Okay. So the public will hear about it. The next thing you will hear is that the government is trying to change some policies. Okay. So it's a strategy. We need to penetrate the media, if I can make that point really clear. Then coming back to the individual level, the people that will actually bring out the money. Okay. Now the government has a stand. The media, the noise is all over the internet. Okay. Flooding is a perennial thing, it's an annual thing. It's destructive, it's damaging. This volume of economic losses, was recorded the last time. This number of people died. By the time they bombard you with all these statistics, yeah, when I'm talking to you as a QS, you're likely to listen better. Okay. Then by the time I begin to, present my own life cycle analysis, okay, that if you do an initial investment that seems to cost more, on the long term, okay, you actually saving cost. You will listen to me. But if all these things are not there and I'm beginning to talk about these things, what you will tell me is mere theories. Okay. After all, the building next door has been existing for 20 years, forgetting that the rain of one day can actually destroy what that building stands for. Okay. So if I can make my point clear, yes, we need to start from those levels I've mentioned and those places I've talked about. Then that is when the professionals will be able to sell the concept of life cycle costing when it comes to, the general climate resilience. Is it with regards to extreme heat? Is it with regards to, cold, how you need to put up your property to be able to, function well when it's cold, how you need to put up your property, to resist, withstand, or absorb the impact of flood. Okay. Yeah. So that's when I'll now come up with my principle of life cycle costing. Then there is one important one, which of course is an age-long concept, which I do not know how much, nowadays we deploy, which is the principle of cost-benefit analysis. Okay. Basically established for public sector projects and also very important, when it comes to, properties or projects or society when it has to do with businesses. So just talking about public sector and businesses. It's also useful for individuals. So the key principle remains you analyze the cost, you analyze the benefit, and it goes beyond just the what we call the physical cost. Okay. You have to talk about the soft costs. You have to talk about the implications of stoppage, to operations, not just the cost of the property as it stands. Okay. You have to, look at how you, turn series of other things into monetary terms. So at the end of the day, we will be able to compare. Does the cost actually outweigh the benefit, or the benefit outweighs the cost? Okay. So if I can summarize, we need to start from where we believe we need to start. There should be, if indeed we believe these issues are real, there should be clear submissions from the government, with regards to the framework we need to follow. I personally would propose something like a flood resilience plan, which spans maybe 15 years. So as we progress, we know how we are doing, okay, and we can assess, monitor, and see if we're actually making progress, at different levels or not. So penetrate the government, lobby as much as you can or as much as you deem necessary, penetrate the media, put things out there with figures. And that takes me to other area, which is the place of data. Okay. If I have the figures, the way we sometimes, become happy when our bank balances increase, you see the figure, it triggers you. Or when it goes down, you see, oh, this thing is going down. When you see figures as well, with regards to these things we're talking about, you're likely to, to listen better. Okay. So then from that level, then we can be talking about professionals actually doing their work and, causing people to bring out the money that is needed to get things in place.
Where do we start from?
Thank you very much for that. It's definitely an opportunity for some of us on this call to actually, take up and work on. And for a while, I think we've been trying to do something related to that. How do we get the best of built environment data, okay, to plan climate resilience and flood resilience and influence decisions, different approaches. So where we start from is some people taking responsibility, okay? That's just the first step. And like I said, it could be one of the key takeaways from here. I am not going to push this to any other person. If anyone would do it, it should be some of the people on this call. I was really happy when I heard that some professional bodies are taking steps, okay, regarding having some cost information or cost database, okay. So summary of my point is people becoming ready to take responsibility, and as well, appealing to people to supply data. Okay, that's one of the challenges. Take responsibility, then appeal to the people you need information from to get the right information from them. But the key thing, some people need to step forward, take responsibility.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah, the first one, loving. Definitely, when I said loving, it's actually not about giving money. And thank you for bringing that up. It's basically about trying to persuade, public officials, okay, to support a particular policy or campaign, okay. And in the UK, there is actually a framework, which guides how you do that, which, these people will call them the consultant lobbying. They have to register. Okay. So they know when the ethical approach to this, when it stops, when it becomes unethical. Okay. So I think this is something we probably need to learn and see. Maybe we'll be able to penetrate some territories a little bit more. Okay. So it's not really about the giving of money, but about penetrating the right offices, the right individuals to, present your case and get them to wherever you want to get them to.